Hi there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, Worldwide TV Network, iTube 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, WomenOnTV.tv, and all the platforms around the world. So here is a special show today. This is the first show that we're going to do, Terry, out of the 4 that we're going to do today. So this is our roundtable. We're back in the studio. Roberto, let's have you introduce yourself first, because he is our newest member, Terry.
Yes.
I just want to make sure you're paying attention.
Okay, as long as you remember I'm here today.
I know, she finally made it. Anyhow, Roberto is our first male co-host for Movie Reviews and More, and the reason why we chose him, because not only is he an international best-selling author, he's an interesting guy in general, and we just plain like him. And with his book, I'm going to have Roberto talk about his book. Roberto, who are you and where you're coming from today?
Yes, thanks for having me, Brian. Thank you very much for the introduction. So I'm Roberto Delanese. I am the author of the Delanese Method. It's a practical guide to success, prosperity, and abundance. I'm originally from Brazil, and I'm in the U.S. now for a few years, living in Las Vegas.
And he drove all the way down here again, and he came down here a couple weeks ago, and we had a blast. It was an honor and a pleasure to finally meet. And that was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, it was very fun, yes. A lot of fun. It's always a great place to be, always surrounded by amazing people like you guys. So I had a real amazing place. It was the first time that I had been here. So it was great. It was like one of those memorable moments that I had in my life.
And I felt he was special enough. Tony, I actually ended up moving him to the middle chair for this show. That's where he normally sits. So now we're going to go over that. We're going to skip over the girl. We're not going to pay attention to Sherrie right now. We're going to go to Tony right now first. Tony, who are you? Where are you coming from? Because you've got a vast history of stuff.
Thank you. Well, I'm a child of God. That's who I really am. But what I tell people my name is Tony Boldi. And I've been in Hollywood about 25 years producing now. I have an acting school that's going worldwide, World Acting Academy, WAA. Look for it in your country. And we're just happy to be on your show. Thanks for having us.
And so talk about how we met through our friend Ms. America and her husband. I call him Mr. America.
Yes.
Mr. America.
Yes, exactly.
Well, Ms. America got a 2-year reign because of COVID, so it actually worked in her favor. So she's the current reigning Ms. America. Really happy to know her very well. She and I co-hosted with Pat O'Brien and did a Golden Gala with Eric Zuli's company, and we awarded some really worthy people, and so I got to know her really well, and she thought that you and I would get along, although we're across the table from each other, so we're getting to know each other well, but I already like what I'm seeing and hearing.
And talk about this. All right, so Sherrie Foster, you and I have been friends for a while. You're just an ordinary human being, nothing special, but who are you, Sherrie, and what makes you unique?
Oh, gosh. I know I get the hard questions. I'm Sherrie Foster. I'm an entrepreneur. I was an adult actress, and then I became a nanny and a acting coach for kids. And then somebody whispered in my ear that they saw a movie of mine 12 years later. So I decided to come back to LA and take control of my career. I have 3 small YouTube channels. One of them is a meditation channel, which should be actually monetizable in a few days. I discovered meditation music, and it changed my whole life. And now I'm going to teach courses on how to manifest anything you want.
So here's what she left out, because she's all of this too. Not only is she very intelligent, we just have fun going back and forth, and when you can scam a scammer, that says something, doesn't it? Talk about that, Sherrie. We're going to start off with you. We all get these spam calls. She gets on the line and she goes, watch what I do, Brian. Talk about what you did.
Well, basically, I like to have fun with them. I toy with them. And instead of letting it be a time wasted for me, I literally make YouTube shows about it and help people to watch out for the signs. But it's very hard to pull one over on me. I actually got one this morning. And so I said to the scammer, I said, if you end up being a scammer, I'm going to make a show about you, right? I said, I'm going to put you up on YouTube. I'm going to expose you.
And you do.
Yes, I do.
I've never seen this happen before. She's actually done this where she was on the phone with the guy, The guy thought he was getting over on her, and she turned it right about around. And then she goes, okay, watch what I do now. And I've never seen this before. No, you did it 3 times.
Yes.
And then you ended up getting the guy's phone number. You ended up I think you ended up getting $15 out of him instead of the other way
Yes.
around. Talk
Yeah.
about that.
Well, if they ask for, do you have Apple Pay or whatever, I always say I have Cash App. And then if they don't have it, then I send them a link to Cash App and I say, hey, we'll both make $15 now. And so a lot of them fall for it actually, and it's really cool. So I'm like, well, we didn't waste time. I got paid $15 just to, and you're going to be on my show, so you might be famous, So one day.
And you can scam the scammer. They call me every day. Every day. And I always call about student loans. I'm like, I don't have a student loan.
Right.
I know, I get that one too.
I'm like, no. I'm like, I hang up on them though. Maybe
She doesn't. She keeps them online.
I play with them, and then I put my phone on. I literally record myself doing it, and then later on, I'll edit it. I'll put it up, and I'll literally be laughing so hard. And I'm like, please keep it coming. If you want to scam me, go right ahead.
And you call it catfishing?
I call myself the catfish hunter.
And why is that?
Because people that waste people's time should really get exposed. I don't like people who waste time because it's a commodity you never get back and it's rude. And so I go after them big time and make sure that they wish that I would block them.
It's really bad because, I mean, a lot of people, because they work from home, I mean, and so they're calling my business line all the time, and I'm like, you're calling my business line, I don't have time for this, so I usually just hang up on them, but
Yeah.
maybe I'll start messing with them.
Well, I think it's fun, and I'm like, if you're going to waste my time, I'm literally going to get you. So yeah, I've got a whole thing on TikTok now where I'm doing catfish hunting, #catfish hunter. So that's me now. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, here's the other thing about this. So Tony, she's very interesting. She's a creator. She's very intelligent, but she also loves to edit. I've never seen someone who's really a perfectionist who wants to edit on just that. But on the other stuff, she's really good on too. And she's good at manifesting. So I haven't seen this in a long time. I've just been sitting there watching what she's doing. I'm like, she gets it. And then we go back and forth because Terry doesn't pick up the phone when I call her anymore. She doesn't
do
like me
too.
anymore.
That's not
So I'm forced to talk to Sherrie now, forced to. So we start bantering on things. And it's interesting because no one's done a show on scammers that I realized that I can think of yet, but it's been very interesting.
I go down this rabbit hole with you, and if you go on YouTube, you'll see there's quite a few people that actually do it. Maybe not the way she does it, but they're pretty gullible. They say you can always sell to a salesperson, and they make their money based on closing a deal, and they very rarely close a deal. So if they think they're closing a deal, you've hooked them, and they're catfishing, and she is a catfish hunter, so she's hunting them because they're desperate and hungry, and she knows what brings them a little closer. And if you guys know anything about cat, not catfish, but cat, if you want to hold them, you can't. But if you don't want them in your lap, they want to be there. And so if you know the mentality, which I think she does because you said she's smart, and I see she is, she knows how to get them to jump in her lap.
Talk about the shows. We love going to Nashville. We have 4,400,000 views and still climbing out of Franklin, Tennessee, which is really, really good. I know why you want to go, but talk about why you're going and talk about a little bit of what makes you relevant because you've done a lot of stuff in your history.
Thank you. Well, we have a current show right now I'm an executive producer on. It's called the Nashville's Next Best of 3. And it's basically the American Idol, not connected with American Idol, for country singers.
That's great.
And so it's taken a life of its own. We're really honored to bring that to you. We've done the first season. We're getting ready to launch that. And then we're going to launch our second season. We're going to start filming that, and that should come out shortly as well. So next weekend, we're headed to Nashville, Tennessee to start filming that. I don't know how far your reach is. I'm sure it's pretty big, but I can say it before he finds out. But Kevin Dorsey's going to come and join us, and Kevin was the gatekeeper for American Idol and The Voice, and very powerful people. We haven't signed the papers, so I'm a little premature on that, but you get the exclusive here. But yeah, once he gets behind this, he was Michael Jackson's music director for 30 years. Very powerful man. We've got, we call it BO3, so look for that acronym. But we've also got some really powerful people behind this, the investors and the production company behind it. So my current business partner's over at Viacom. She's a third-party showrunner. So as you know, that's Paramount, CBS, Pluto TV, MTV, BET. I mean, the list is ridiculous. Nickelodeon just consumed Awesomeness TV, which was the company that we worked through to We launched the show right before COVID. It hit 20 million viewers, which
Wow.
is pretty big numbers as to those of us in this world. So they're saying, what's next? And so we have a cooking show coming out, which is going to be a really cool spin on traditional cooking shows. And then, of course, Nashville's Next Best of Three. And then I used to work with Gary Marshall. He wrote a feature film that we're finishing up. And so that's the feature film world. That's a family film about divorce. And the late, great Gary said, don't make them get back together. Keep it modern. Keep it advanced. And here's a man that was well into his, I think, 80s. And
Yep.
here he's more current than I am. And so he's a genius, was a genius, always will be a genius, and we're proud to put out some of his last work as a feature film. So a lot of things going, but my most current project is Nashville's Next Best of Three, so watch for that.
Give your social media links.
Tony Boldi, so it's TonyBoldi. It's at Yahoo, it's Instagram. You can find me anywhere. You can Google it, and you might even see they call me the People's Mayor of Hollywood. And I'm talking Eric Garcetti and Gavin Newsom have been known to call me the People's Mayor. So
I think that's cool.
yeah, it doesn't pay well, but
So talk about this. Roberto, in case you don't know who Gary Marshall was, so Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley. There was a
Pretty
great,
Woman.
exactly, Pretty Woman discovering Julia Roberts. This is who Gary Marshall is. I knew Gary from I Will Keep It Clean. Gary was always a friend of helping a lot of women out who were less fortunate. He was a very, very nice guy. One of the most would you say one of the most down-to-earth guys that you would ever meet?
The most. He was everyone's best friend, everyone's dad, everyone's grandpa. Everybody loved him. It was heartbreaking when we lost him.
If you ever see a movie on Hulu, it's called The Happy Days of Gary Marshall.
Oh yeah,
Great
Scott Marshall
doc.
did that. His son.
Yes, his son worked with our friend John Scheinfeld. It's a great documentary on all the stuff that he did, and it was great to see it last April when it debuted on ABC. It was the first documentary that they've had in, I think 25 years, but now it's on Hulu, so everybody can catch up on it. That's the fun thing about that. Going into today's world of what's going on, talk about why your book is relevant, and it's put out through Hasmark, which I love, out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So Judy O'Byrne, Daniel Martins out of Portugal, Dave Foley, their marketing person. Talk about why this is great, and what's it mean they have this seal of approval, international best-selling author, because you only wrote this last year, right?
Yes.
Talk about that.
Yes. Yeah, so basically, I work my whole life in the corporate world. So I come from Brazil, so I work in multinationals in here, and I travel a lot of places in the world. And my passion basically has always been how to develop people, how to help them to achieve their goals, their dreams. And I always had a chance because I was working, I was traveling to meet people. So when you meet people, you have a chance to see what they think, what they want, and you help them out. Last year, I was in Brazil when the COVID came, so I flew back to US, and I knew I would be stuck in the house probably for a year. Okay? And the idea was, how can I help people now staying at home? And came the idea about the book. Because over the years, a lot of people had told me, you should put in writing what you tell us, you should put in writing how you train us. And I said, okay, let me do it. And my plan went a little further. I said, okay, let me do the book, and hopefully the book can make a difference in the life of tons of people, maybe millions of people around the world. Right? That was my idea. I see how can, everyone has a dream. So the way where I come from is that everyone has a dream, everyone has everyone has to grow. So I said, I have a method that I use that moved me back from Brazil to US, and I achieved my decent life, what I call my abundance life in here. And my goal is to do the same for the others. So the book was launched to go after those people, but after that, I want also to help people that have a dream and they don't have a way, they don't have resources to get there. So that's the two step. My first step is the book. That's why when I wrote the book, my idea was that the book need to be a bestseller. Because being a bestseller gave me the credibility that I did something that is good, that people are buying the book, and then help me to do my next step. That is how to put together a foundation or something that can help like kids or people that I need to achieve their goals and they can't, right? And I hook up with Hasmark. So they are an amazing group of people that help us to launch the book, and they did an amazing work, and we are able to launch. Now it has been exactly 100 days that we launched the book. So it is in the market for 100 days. It is an international bestseller. So we were bestseller in US and Canada. I believe it was Spain, Brazil. So it was like a few countries out there. So I'm very happy with the results.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you know that was going to happen, though? And again, you wrote this when? Last year?
Yeah, I started writing April last year. April, May, more or less, that I came up with the idea and I wrote the book and then had to put together to prepare the cover, prepare everything for the launch. And in March of this year, it was launched. And so it is out for 100 days, and it's what surprises me, well, not surprise, but surprises me for the short time. I'm already getting a few people writing back, saying that they are already getting benefits from the book.
That's good.
Great.
Yeah, it is. That's the good part, right? That is, you do something, and I always said, if I can help a few people out there, then it's mission accomplished. And that's basically my goal, right? Is to get feedback from people that they have changed their life, they have achieved their goals, they have achieved their dreams, and that's what I'm looking forward.
Talk about the AR aspect of it. You ever had Tony and Sherrie, ever heard of book company that's got AR in it? Hashmarks is the only one in the world.
Really?
Talk about what's in your AR in your book.
Yes, in the book, the Hashmark has this technology that they call AR. The augmented reality is a little seal that you have in here, and when you open the book, there is a mark that if you download an app from any of your mobile devices, when you scan that app, you go to a next level. So what they say, you can read the book outside the book. So for me, I have a small scale. For me, it transfers you to basically a website where I'm talking to you. So I give you an extra message in addition to what's in the book. For some people or some books that have like a fiction, have a character, a little animal or something, you can have that animal come up to life and basically say things or do something. So it is an augmented reality tool that you tie to a book.
Right,
so you
we
get the
love
book and you have the next step. Right?
Well, we do that in television and feature films. We
Yes.
do cross marketing, and so
Yeah.
we might team up with a clothing company, and you might find that you have a code to a hit song that you paid for either by buying the jacket or buying the CD. You get one or the other for free, you think, but they've just come up with a behind the closed doors deal. With yours, not only can you not finish the book, you have to go to that code to get the rest of the information, and then you might have to play a video game to get the third part. It's cross marketing, and so it really benefits to hit all platforms, because we see a lot of people get lost in just TikTok, or they only do Facebook, or they only do texting or emails or in person, right? So how do you get people that only stay in their lane? And this is a great way.
Yes,
It's
yes.
a great
It
way.
forces you to go to that app, forces you to achieve, to
It's a
go to a
larger
website
audience.
or somewhere. Yes,
Absolutely.
You bring the audience to you, right?
So you're going to give one of our lucky listeners a free book by responding?
Oh, yes, we have done this.
And we will continue to do
We
this.
continue to
That's
do
what
this.
makes
Oh,
it
yes.
fun.
Oh, yes.
Here, so Tony and Sherrie, you'll get a kick out of this, and even Terry will like it
Yeah.
too. Talk about when you came back. Were you in Brazil and you came into Houston? Is that where you were coming from?
Yes, last year I went to Brazil. My idea was to stay a few months in there. And when I saw that they start canceling the flights and they start closing the airspace for air traveling from different countries, I said, it's time to go home because I'm going to be stuck here for months, right? So I flew and I arrived basically from Brazil to Houston to go from Houston to Vegas, right? And when I arrived in Houston was March 20th. That was the day that they had virtually shut down all the flights. So you arrive in Houston, it's like before 6 a.m., and you have like one guy in customs, there is virtually no one there. And when you leave the immigration area, and you go in the terminal, there was not a single person. There's literally not a soul in Houston airport. There is one airport that has thousands and thousands of people, right? Tens of thousands every day, right? And you start walking from one terminal
So
to
the thing
another.
was, he was the only person there. he's got photos of nothing, nobody there.
Well, as like a filmmaker, when Tom Cruise shuts down Times Square, you know how many
Yeah.
people capitalized on Times Square being shut down? Or
Oh, yes,
airports
it is
being-
amazing, yes.
Filmmakers went
Yes.
crazy
Yeah.
because it's like, I don't have to pay to make people leave. I
Yeah.
think that was a big opportunity.
Yes.
And COVID was tragic, right? So I make light of it because everybody knows how tragic it was. But as a filmmaker, we see opportunities.
Perfect, yes.
And we capitalized on it,
Yes,
trust me. there's a lot of projects coming out where ghost towns are everywhere, and you're like, we know how they got that one.
Oh yes, I took tons of pictures. Even I sent an email, a WhatsApp from there to a friend, and I said, "Look, remember the Langoliers movie that you arrived in the airport? There is no one there." I said, "That's where I am." I said, "There is nobody here. Everything's closed."
It was
right?
creepy, right?
It was creepy, and it was the same day that they test one guy in the tower in Las Vegas test positive, so they shut down Las Vegas airport, so they cancel all the flights. So I literally stayed there from 6 a.m. until 7:30 at night. That was the only flight that came from Houston to here. So I stayed 13, 14 hours sitting there by myself, waiting for my flight. It was a crazy place. It was really eerie experience.
It was kind of creepy though, because I
It
flew a
is.
couple of times
Oh, yes.
at LAX, and LAX is always a cluster. You know what, like crazy. So for to LAX to no one to be there, it was bizarre. It was really bizarre flying. I think right when the COVID thing happened. So
You start walking, even trying to find a security guy you can talk to, right?
There's no one there. You need no security.
There is no one, not even security you could find, right? There is no one, literally. It was.
well, what was weird is I think when they shut everything down, it was St. Patrick's Day, and I live in South Bay, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach area, and St. Patrick's Day is like pretty big deal down in Hermosa Beach, and so I was down by the pier, and it was just weird because there was like no one there. It's like St. Patrick's Day, all the bars are closed, and it was just the eeriest feeling. It just was creepy.
You know what's funny about this? She was actually pissed off that she couldn't go out for St. Patrick's Day.
Well,
I remember her calling me. This is not right.
I'm Scotch Irish. I have to celebrate St. Patrick's
I was laughing
Day.
when she called me because I was already drinking. I was in the house by myself. I didn't care. I was working.
Private party, right?
I know. I felt like what you felt like because I was like, I'm the only one here. I'm dancing by myself. There's no camera on me. I'm happy. I'm getting stuff done. You know, and then the results, we were able to get over 1 million views on our
Yep.
YouTube channel finally. I was happy about that. You were talking about TikTok earlier, and Sherrie does some funny TikTok videos also. Talk about your TikTok.
Oh, my TikTok? Oh, well, I'm just being my silly self.
Tell them what you do.
Well, right now I'm just doing a lot of like goofy dance videos to like 80s, 90s, 2000 rock on grunge. I'm a big rocker, like Guns N' Roses, Van Halen. I'm a rocker. So
No, I'm a rocker.
well, I'm a rocker too. So, and I'm going to start doing more fitness stuff, and kind of branch out since I'm training again for a show. So that's about it.
Give you social media links.
My social media is nonstop Terry Marie on all platforms, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, and then my website is terrymarieofficial.com, where you can see some of my red carpet interviews and some of my fitness stuff and some of my modeling stuff for fitness.
So Sherrie, talk about what you do when it comes to your TikTok and what makes you important. What do you want to do between now and the rest of the year?
Well, the whole end game for me really is to help humanity in little steps, increments, as I'm doing it right now. But I actually have a non-profit called the Love and Light Project, and I want to raise money through raising good vibrations, which I think the world really needs right now. And so I'm going to bring back flash mobs, and I'm going to raise money for the ASPCA, the RSPCA, because I really love cats, and I love all animals really. And then I'm going to move on, and I'm going to help women and children in need, and so that is what I am working on. So I'm going to put something up on Facebook on my Love and Light project. I'm going to put the choreography up there, and you don't even have to have choreography. You can join me virtually. I'm thinking October. The end of October is going to be the first one. So I want people from around the world to join in, and we'll raise some money firstly for the ASPCA and the RSPCA, which is the English version of Against Cruelty to Animals. So Love and Light Projects on Facebook.
And your TikTok account?
And my TikTok account is Sherrie Foster Channel, also Sherrie Foster 5, and Sherrie Foster Channel on YouTube, Sherrie Foster Channel on Instagram. Basically, it's SherrieFosterChannel, all together, one word. And if you don't know how to spell it, get Grammarly.com.
How I just got PTSD from high school. Spelling tests. Now, you said flash mobs. Are we talking flash mobs or flash mobs?
No, when people get together.
Hey, don't challenge her like that. She'll do it.
People get together and dance, and we raise money through good vibrations, and I think the world needs it now after COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody can do it at home, in the living room, they can do it live. We'll all be dancing together, the whole world.
Talk about where you disappeared to for 12 years.
I went to Kauai, and I fell in love with it, and I never thought I would come back, but it was an amazing experience for me. I basically went off all social media. I didn't even have a smartphone. I didn't have a computer. I didn't do anything except for raise children with their moms, and I worked, just to stay alive. But mainly I just involved myself in like the kids, and it was great watching them dance. And I just went to all the communities. I was in the kid community basically, so it was brilliant. I'd walk into the store and the kids would all know me, and it was brilliant. I had a great time, and I'm not a mother, so I got to have the best of both worlds, where I raised newborns. And now they're like 20. But I could give them back. It was great.
And whose restaurant did you work at?
I actually worked for Todd Rundgren and his wife Michelle at a tiki bar on the North Shore. I also worked at the Huki Laulanai, which is the best restaurant on the island. I worked at Gaylord's. And 3 top restaurants on the island I worked at and managed. And it was great food. So that was perfect. That's why I got all free food, and I was like, yay.
So, Tony, think about this. Here's a person who was directing, producing, doing all kinds of interesting things and really editing, and all of a sudden she just disappears. She decides, I've had enough, I'm leaving, I'm going to Kauai. Imagine that. How often does that happen in our world?
All the time. When you get spiritually enlightened and you get to a point, we saw Jim Carrey do it.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of auditioning for Christina Aguilera's band. And that was the point when I realized you can't go further than that, and you're still just a hired gun. And I had that moment of like, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. Right? That's the pinnacle. That's the top. And I walked away right in the middle of the audition with all of my friends, her band, and they're like, why are you packing up? And I'm like, I gotta go home.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell them why I left, but I had a moment, and I think she probably had the same moment. You just wake up one day, and where you wake up is where you wake up, but when you do, there's no turning it off.
Exactly.
And I think that's probably, so it happens a lot more than you realize, because in our business, when you do get a little bit of stardom, you realize that doesn't answer that question, why am I here, and why am I not happy? And when you get money, power, fame, you have looks, anything that we think might be successful, it's a real wake-up call when that doesn't answer why do I still feel this way. And the only way you're ever going to have happiness is if you help somebody else find their happiness. It's the only way.
Yes.
Roberto, this goes back to your book of kind of what you were talking about, your method. What do you think when you hear that? Because this industry is really interesting. I've always said, I can't wait for Terry to walk away and leave me. But she's not going anywhere, are you?
Why do you want me to go somewhere? Why do you want to give me shit all the time?
Because I can.
I know. It's okay.
No, it is one of those things where, Jim Carrey, perfect example. Going to Hawaii.
Right.
I get it. Pierce Bronson is in Hawaii right now. I see where Gene Hackman ended up leaving the country, Sean Connery going to Spain. And I liked how, I'll never forget this. I wasn't supposed to interview Sean Connery for the movie Finding Forrester. I'm sitting here, he comes here, and I didn't have permission from the publicist. It was one of the best days ever of my life interviewing everybody. We had Russell Crowe that day, we had Sandra Bullock, Meg Ryan, we had everybody that day. And in the middle, Sean Connery was coming in, I'm like, if I do the right thing and step out, when am I going to get Sean Connery again? So, and I'm the only black guy in this, so I can't hide. And he's right here, and I'm sitting right here. So how do you maneuver this? So I said this. Okay, I did this once with Raquel Welch. I did the right thing. I'm not going to do the right thing this time. I'm going to stay in this room, in this seat, and I'm going to interview Sean Connery for Finding Forrester, because I don't know when I may get a chance to interview again. I'm glad I did the right thing, because that was the last interview that he did.
Well, to add to what you're saying, those people from, say, the Midwest, where I'm from, Michigan, they're like, well, aren't you bugging them? This is the business they chose to be in. the rule is, don't go up to them with their family.
When they're eating.
When they're eating is number one rule. Don't do that. And when they're in something that's not selling them in their best light, like
Yep.
they don't, their hair's not done, or they're disheveled, or they're stressed. Those are basic rules of Hollywood. Just don't do it. Other than that, if they're in public and they don't have bodyguards, they're okay with it. They showed up, they walked out of the house, they agreed to, this is the business.
And they know it's
they're in.
going to happen most likely too.
Well, yeah, and they know how to say no. We forget they know how to say no. I
Right.
went up to the lead guitar player from Led Zeppelin. He was at Amoeba Music, and I asked him if I could take a photo with him, and he so kindly said no. And he explained why he said no. He said, because if I take a photo with you,
Yep.
every single person in the store will want one. I will never get out of here, and I'm here with my grandkids, and that would be wrong for my grandkids. And that's the best no I've ever gotten in my life.
Exactly.
They can say no, so you can ask.
And so the reason why I tell that story to people is because the publicists, they were on a power trip. You're doing the iconic thing of interviewing. Their job is to market their film, their CD, their book when it comes to stuff. And I always said yes. So I said this. Just because you had the power over me at that moment, I'm already at the table. So I wasn't going to, the second time when I missed out on Raquel Welch, who I never ever got a chance to interview again, and that was only with 2 people. I was stupid enough, I'm going to do the right thing, and I stepped out. I'm like, boy, that was a dumb thing to do. I should have just stayed at the table.
Right.
So I learned that lesson, going back to what you're talking about. I got the power to be here. All I knew is that I'm going to outlast all of these people no matter what. That's when I talked to Terry about her numbers, no matter what. You got 25,000 followers, but you got over 3 million views. What is the bigger number? 3 million or 25,000?
Well, here's a question that's debatable. If you're trying to get hired in Hollywood based on your numbers, we know how to go 2 steps further. We look at who's following you, and we'll see if it's an AI bot. So if they're not getting followers and they're not having conversations, you got to at least go 2 or 3 deep if you're buying your numbers. If you're organic, then the 3 million views obviously organically are way more powerful. But are people buying what you're selling? Most of the time,
Yes.
beautiful women are able to get views, not all, but get views. But they're not. No one's buying what they're selling. They just wanna
That's
look.
true.
So, as a person in sales, which is what we do in Hollywood, is a show business, we want to see how we're going to sell our movie, our product, what we're selling. And so we do go a little bit deeper than you guys might think. So don't just think because you have a number displayed on your page is going to help you work faster in this business, because it's not.
And that's exactly what I tell people. And I was telling Sherrie about this also. There's many people that don't have that blue check. Some people, that's like to live and die by. I don't care about that, because I'm going by what we can actually show. And I tell people this. You can always unfollow someone. You can always unlike something. You can always unsubscribe to something, but you can't unview a view, no matter what.
Right.
And I said, I'll take our views over anybody in the world, because at least I know they always go up. They never stay the same, and they never, ever go down. So when it comes to things like this, Sherrie, what have you been learning about what you're putting up to what Terry's putting up? Because she's focusing on her TikTok. So I said I would always help her on that, even though I don't care about TikTok, but she does.
Mine is just silliness. Because
Yeah,
I think
but you're
sometimes
silly. They like you.
I know. Well, I mean, but people like silliness. That's why I like to do it, because I think I'm
Yeah.
funny sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, and then she gets
I
crap
laugh-
for it.
I laugh
and
at
I
myself.
go, I don't care what she does. She's happy. I'm happy about
Well,
that.
some people don't get me, so that's fine. I'm like, if you don't get me, that's your problem. Like, but I either have people really like me or they don't like me.
Yeah.
So, but
you've-
that's fine.
You've heard on the internet when they say that they're following you more and know more about you, your enemies, they're now a fan. They're not
Well,
an enemy.
it's weird because I had like this person like reach out to me on Facebook, and she said some personal questions, and she's like, well, I've been following you from the fitness stuff, and it was just weird because I was like, I don't know who this person was, and that's when I think you're like, okay, well, I have these people that are following me that I had no idea that know stuff about me, which is weird at first. Like, I'm used to it now, but at first it was weird.
Well, so let's talk about, for the kids that might listen to the show, and I don't know if you have young viewers,
Oh, we do.
but responsible information. They are going to get stalkers, and we're not just talking
Exactly.
Yep.
online bullies. We're talking in person, walk into your house, stalk your car, follow you to restaurants. So those of you that are looking for fame, beware of what you're looking for, because
Exactly.
there's a lot of baggage that comes with stardom. But with that, you just need to be responsible with what you're posting. Don't post your address. Don't post where you are if you're out of town. Because guess what? If you tell them you're out of town and they know where you live, they're going to be at your house taking your stuff.
Exactly.
You see that happen with pro athletes all the time.
And they actually made a movie out of that too.
Yeah.
I don't know what that movie is, but
Yeah,
I
I
know.
forgot the name of it, but Paris Hilton and all those people,
Oh,
they would
wow.
always say,
Yeah.
I saw that movie.
Yes.
yeah.
No, I don't post anything like address or
Well,
anything
that's
like
'cause
that.
I told her not
No,
to.
it'd be more. It just like would just be something about fit. Like she knew which fitness shows I did because she's like, oh, I know you did Lauren Power's fitness show. Like it was stuff like that. It wasn't like anything too personal, but it was just like, okay, well, I guess I have fans that I didn't realize I had fans. Does that mean anything? But then another thing that's kind of creepy though is some of these people will reach out to you on social media. And then if you're not giving them the attention that they don't, or not giving them the attention they think that they need back, and you don't know this person, they get mad and they get angry. I've had a couple of guys that get angry at me because I didn't want to pay attention to them, and and I'll say no, because at the time I had a boyfriend, and they're like, well, why are you like dancing in a bikini on the internet if you have a boyfriend? I'm all, because it's a joke and it's just because what I do. So I mean, so they get, it just, people get weird.
But
So-
you responded to them, and they
Send it
got
my way.
any attention is good attention to a stalker. So if you respond, then you're responsible for.
No, I didn't
engaging.
respond. No,
Oh,
if
good,
you,
good.
no. These are people that you don't respond to. Then they get mad, and then they send you all kinds of crazy stuff, and then you just got to block them. Yeah.
Delete, delete,
Yeah.
delete,
Yeah.
delete,
Yes.
delete.
Yeah, but you know what I always tell, especially a lot of my influencers, because I see how they do stuff. If you ever saw the Fry Festival, it's just on Hulu. It's very interesting, and the reason why I bring this up is because they love the colors of orange and red. When they're scrolling down to their thousands of people that are following them, it's the colors of orange and red that they stop at.
Yeah.
These are the things that they see, and it's true because I've actually seen my friends do it. And I go, why'd you stop at that? Oh, it looks interesting. And they're like, oh, what is that? It's
Oh, the
almost like it's
colors?
all, yeah, the colors that they respond to. And that's why I chose our colors. As we had Michelle, my assistant out of Georgia, create our colors because I wanted it to be inviting to women. And if the women like it, then the guys will follow what the women like.
Let's go even more grade school to that philosophy. I used to work at Mel's Drive-In, and we found when cakes spun, people bought them. When they
Really?
didn't spin, they didn't buy them. When it's shiny, it's glossy, they want it. So when you see commercials and they spray lacquer to make it shine more, they sell more. Cars that are shiny with a gloss sell more. So that's from being a child in your playpen, and we put the little spinny and
That's
the
true.
blinkies. We're never really outgrowing that. So if you want to
That's
sell
right.
something, make it blink, make it shine, make it spin, make it the color that you're talking about.
Well, and that's why I keep looking at Sherrie's phone because I would never have one, but it's like shiny and
Yep.
splashy.
Yep.
Sherrie, are you shiny and flashy?
Sometimes
Yeah.
I am.
You see, you know how to capture these guys. But you also like, okay, I'm gonna get this guy. He has no idea who he's screwing around with. That's fascinating. Most women will run because they're scared of that, but you're not. The opposite. Talk about that.
I'm totally not. Like I put my thing up on. I'm very silly on TikTok too. I think I'm hilarious. I really do. And I also know that the people that are watching me mostly are probably my haters. Like really, like they're the ones watching all my stuff, and I don't care. I'm like I don't just watch it.
If they hate you, that means that they're paying attention, and
Yep.
so basically
Doing
you're a
something
fan.
right.
If
Yeah.
they're hating on you, they're a fan. I mean, I've had like people I've had some women say like the meanest things. I don't really care, but it's just like I'm like, why are you on my page if you want to like just say whatever nasty comments you want to? So I think when people do that, they're bringing out their own insecurities on themselves. So it's really what's going on in their life when they put it on other people, especially people they don't know.
That
So-
brings out like the therapist in me, you know,
Yeah.
and I try to actually help them. You know, I try to get to the root of it. You know, why are people doing this? Like, and I do actually do it to help people more than make fun of people. I'm not trying to make fun of people. I'm just like, I try to actually get to the bottom of it. Why would somebody need to do this? Is it their self-confidence? Is it low self-esteem? What is it? You know, why are they doing it? So I go there first, and then if that doesn't work, then I just go to my other, you know, like little crazy self, and I just say, oh, let's get him now, but only for fun and not just so I don't waste my own time, and really to, you know, expose it for other people to learn, because I didn't know what a catfisher was before I got catfished. I didn't know, you know what I mean? I probably catfished many times, been catfished, but now that I know what it is and I know that people actually do it, I'm like, well, I'm going to have some fun with it. I'm going to turn a negative thing that could be a time waster into a positive thing, and I'll be laughing. I'll be laughing on the other side, you know.
Well, you can
and making him laugh.
Well, that's something that I think that I do a lot too. It's like sometimes I'll get a negative comment in and I'll make a joke about it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say, oh, okay, well, they say something nasty, and then I'll make it a joke about myself and go, ha ha, that was
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they don't know what to say back to you because you're not mad.
Exactly.
Because they want to get reaction out to you. So if you kind of throw it back as a joke, then they have nothing
So Tony,
to say.
here's the other thing too. Terry's an instigator. She'll say something, and all of a sudden, they start fighting amongst you, and then she steps away.
Those are my.
She goes away, and I'm like, they're still fighting, and she's not even logged on anymore.
Those are my friends.
Brilliant.
And then the thing with Sherrie is that she's actually dealing with those people who you were talking about earlier.
Right.
They've become fans of her, so they're actually responding to her now because she's actually one of them.
Right, and as you mentioned, catfish, for those people that don't understand what that is, you can get a little bit of information on the internet, but you're missing the most critical piece to make the door unlock. So they're going to catfish you to get that last piece of information. It might be 2 digits in your SOCH,
Yep.
it might be just the state you grew up in, but they're looking for it. And so beware of questions that you're answering, because they're looking for answers for other reasons.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
called catfishing.
See, Roberto, stick with us. We'll make sure that you don't get any stalkers.
Oh, they're fun. They're fun.
Yes.
No, because he's got a fan base coming up that I see, and I'm watching, and I like this. This is what I do behind the scenes. I'm always watching what the girls are doing to make sure that none of that happens. And we do have 2 people that actually help us. David Perez from Omega International is one of them. His job is, if there's single females, especially the CEOs, he goes into their house. He brings a fire marshal with him to make sure if they have any holes, where are they vulnerable when they come home late at night by themselves. He's actually his job to do that. And his first 2 clients were Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. And that's how he built up his stuff. But it's a great thing because he has a boat, he has a yacht that we've been to in San Pedro. And so when he goes down to Mexico, he puts up the American flag. The cartel knows who he is. And they know who he is. So they don't screw around with each other. So they're just like, we know.
Yes.
But he also did, why he's relevant, he did 2 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, but he also was a Marine. He worked for 2 different presidents. He worked at the Pentagon. So he's got numbers and he's got that resume, and that's why he's relevant. And what does he do now? He makes sure his clients, who are major celebrities, aren't being stalked.
Right.
And so he'll be here mid-August because he's busy working on all of this stuff right now. And then when the NBA was in the bubble last year in Orlando, it was his firm that was actually protecting the NBA players.
Well, I teach a lot of kids, right, acting, and they go to auditions here in LA. And I try to remind them that there was no borders when Charles Manson was doing what he was doing. There was no borders when Jodie Foster was being stalked and Ronald Reagan got shot. There was no, and still is, no borders. So when you go to auditions, don't go alone. Don't go to people's homes. Go to professional sites during the day. Anything after 8 o'clock is a date. Anything after 11 is fun. You got to know the basics of Hollywood. So beware, be careful, but don't be scared. Just be smart and hire your people. You got a great group of people.
Well, and I was telling, I think it was Sherrie or somebody, I was telling, anything after 10 o'clock at night, that's not a meeting. That's called beware. Because who do we know that's actually having a meeting at 10 o'clock at a nightclub?
I'm waking up at 5 in the morning, getting my health on, my spiritual health, and then
Me
I
too.
got business at 6 to 7 because we work with New York time.
Yeah.
And then I'm back to LA time. So if I'm out till 10, 11, 12 in the morning,
It's exhausting after a while.
you are not sleeping to make your business calls, and then you're not present, and you're not going to close the deal. So yeah, nobody legit, if it's not a Friday or Saturday, is really out there offering you deals. So if someone says, I discovered you, you're going to be famous. Yeah, that I don't think it's going to happen.
Roberto, this is the reason why I moved to Vegas, because I couldn't get anything done when I was living here, and I didn't tell anybody I left. I was just in the house by myself, and I was like, I can get all my paperwork and stuff, and then I can go to an event. I can go in and out on my Segway, because I have a Segway that I would scoot in and on,
Yep.
in and out. I'd just take the mega bus down. I'd sleep for 5 hours, because I didn't know when I was going to get any sleep.
Right.
And then sometimes I'd stay at Terry's house, and then sometimes, where are you coming? Because if they knew I was in town, hey, Brian, come pick me up.
Yep.
That's why I stopped driving half the time, because they knew that I was around, and I was so, I don't know, weak's not the word, but I was so, as Sherrie would say, I wanted to make sure my friends were okay. I would literally go to the house and start cleaning up their place. I wanted to make sure that they were safe. a lot of times they were depressed, they couldn't get out of bed, so I would go over there and I'd take care of them, and then I'd get up and I'd go to the Four Seasons and I interviews like Tom Cruise or whoever I was doing for the day. And then I would literally take them
Tough
with
life.
me.
Yes.
I would literally take them with me, and the reason why I did that, because they were going through a situation. I had to take them out of where they were and bring them into my world. And it was a neutral world for them. First of all, most of them had never been to the Four Seasons. Second of all, they didn't think that they would ever get a chance to be sitting next to someone that they've been watching on the screen or that they saw in a concert. And I would sit them right next to me like they were journalists. And you should see the look of horror, but at the same time, they were like, it took their problem away. And that was the whole goal. Going back to your book. I haven't even read a book yet, but what you're talking about was some of the stuff that I was doing.
Yeah.
So this is perfect timing for everything. So we got about 3 minutes left. Give your website, what you want coming up.
I got to add to what you just said. You told the Bill Murray story. We all know, if you know anything about Bill Murray, he could show up at your house and be doing your dishes, and you don't know him. He's just cleaning your house, and then he'll take off to wherever else Bill Murray ends up. There's a whole great documentary about that. If you haven't seen it, my friend did the documentary, so make sure you watch the Bill Murray story.
But here's the other thing about Bill Murray.
Yes, sir.
You know, he doesn't have a cell phone. You have to call a payphone if it's still there in Chicago.
Right.
And it will ring and ring and ring, and everybody knows that's where Bill goes to pick up the phone if you want to get him to hire him to work. Yeah. That's how you reach Bill Murray. It's not fantasy. It's actually really true.
Yeah.
And the one day we were packing up, it was a Sophia Coppola, or was it what is that? Transportation or something that Bill Murray was in. And we were ready to leave, and all of a sudden the publicist comes in, you want to talk to Bill Murray? And before we could say yes, Bill's walking through the door. Yeah. And we're like, we're not leaving. This is Bill Murray. Right. When do we get a chance to talk to Bill Murray? Yeah. And he sits down like this, and he's just like robotic. And it's like this, but because it's Bill Murray. Right. And we're laughing because he's just like, I know you guys aren't supposed to laugh. It's for radio. You need clean sound bites, but I'm here to make you guys laugh. And he did. And it's Bill Murray. It's one of the best interviews we ever did.
Yeah, he's great. And he's not selfish. He's selfless. And he's there for you. That's why he cleans your house. That's what he does. If you ever had the pleasure, let us know. Report back. And you said Sophia Coppola, so Nicolas Cage's aunt through Francis Ford Coppola. So amazing stories here in Hollywood. We get them every day. We're blessed to walk. I say be careful when you walk out of your front door. You might end up on camera. And twice I walked out in my PJs just to get a coffee, and I ended up on a commercial for the coffee shop. Another time I ended up on the local night news because it rained a little and no one knew how to drive, so there was more accidents than winter sleet, black ice, snowstorm. And I'm like, are you seriously interviewing me about the little bit of rain that's falling? And they said, yes, we're seriously doing it. And I was like, all right, let me I'm notorious for hats. Let me put my hat on. And I did it for the local news, the 6 o'clock news. So be careful when you walk out your front door. This is Hollywood. But we get great stories like this, and we're blessed to drop them. Some people call it name dropping. I just call it telling our story because we live this. And
it's not fun. Name dropping it. What it is that we're telling a real story that other people may never get a chance to live and may never get a chance to see these people, because I see this happening right now, and I hope I'm a little bit wrong. I don't see us going back to a lot of one-on-one stuff. I don't see that because Morgan Freeman, what is he, 90 now? I don't see Morgan taking a chance coming to do one-on-one interviews for people at the hotel. I just don't see it.
Zoom, StreamYard is here to stay.
Exactly. It's not going anywhere. So those days of doing stuff, see, we don't have a problem getting anybody in. My thing is sometimes convincing the publicists because they're wanting to be safe. And that's one reason why here at the Mike House, I want to make sure that everybody's comfortable, because it is important to come in, to be in this small little situation like that. And I take that very, very seriously.
We're very socially distanced. I mean, this is the biggest studio I've ever been in for talk shows. I'm telling you, we are distanced. That's like, I need your area code.
Last question. All right, Tony, give your social media links. What do you want people to know about you, and anything inspirational you could say to that audience who may not know who you are but may want to get in touch with you?
All right, it's easy to find me under Tony Boldi, 2NY, Boldi. Everywhere on the internet. More than I want to share, it's all there. If you're curious, deep dive, and you're going to find some fun stuff. They do call me the People's Mayor of Hollywood. It doesn't pay. I have no political power, but I know some people. So, hey, I know some people, eh? But inspirationally, help somebody else. It's going to help you. The more people you help, the more you're going to realize that's the answer. Don't do it for yourself. Don't ever do it for yourself. you'll get everything you've ever wanted by helping people. That's my little bit of inspiration for you. I teach kids. I learn from teaching. These kids are the best teachers in the world. We were loaned this earth. You've heard this before. We need to give it to them better than we found it. Please make this place a better place to live. That's all I got.
Sherrie?
Hi, bye. My name is Sherrie Foster. I'm on the Sherrie Foster channel, and yes, I love people, and everything that I do is out of service to put smiles on people's faces. And so, if I am teasing you, it's only because you deserve it. Sherrie Foster channel on YouTube, Sherrie Talks on YouTube. I'm just going to spell my first name again, Sherrie. And yeah, talk to me. Ask me anything, and I will answer.
Roberto?
Yes, I'm Roberto Delanese. I'm in Facebook and Instagram and Roberto Delanese, and also in LinkedIn. I don't have that many people. I don't have the problems in social media because I had nothing up to 3 months ago. So I barely just started with the launch of the book. And one thing that I would say, just picking up in both of you, that you are saying that we should basically help others, and that's why we are here. One thing that I stress in here in the book too, and saying, I think we all have dreams. You all always want get better. The more you do it, the better you get. Once you achieve it the best you can, then you can help people. When you are down, when you have problems, when you can't get up, it's very hard to help people. So first, try to be the best you can. Achieve everything that you can with all the faculties, the talents that you have. Use all your talents. Once you are the best you can, you're going to find a lot of opportunities to help a lot of people.
Amen.
That's the goal.
Terry?
Terry Marie nonstop on all platforms, and I guess my message is to never give up on your dreams, no matter how old you are. Even if you're 80 years old, whatever you want to do, put your mind to, you can do it. I've been told my whole life that I can't do this and I can't do this, and the thing is, when people tell me I can't do something, I go ahead and do it. So that's my message and my inspiration. You know, with fitness, whether it be you want to start your own business, you're never too old, and don't listen to the noise, because when people are telling you that you can't do it, because I've gone on auditions where it was probably like 20 years ago, I had an agent tell me that, you'll never get anywhere because, you don't have the right look or whatever. I mean, there's always going to be people that are going to tell you no. And some of the most successful people in Hollywood, they've gone through it. They've been told no. So somebody's going to say yes. So just keep plugging along.
Keep going.
Awesome.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being here. What I always say is, my idol, Hot Rod, Rowdy Roddy Piper would always say, just when you think you know the answers, I change the questions. And I love that quote when it comes to that. But I always leave people with this. When you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours, because the world needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More. And we will see you next week.